What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfawn Orbital. So today I would like to go over an install commission I completed last night. This was a little bit of an expedited install for the client. Client needed this hilt in time for a con, so I was happy to oblige and expedite the install. This is a very, very unique lightsaber from Space Junk Sabers. Nevin from Space Junk Sabers is calling this the Lord Scourge. I think I'm pronouncing that. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But it is a very, very unique hilt. We've got some really, really gnarly looking claws in the emitter of this, and there is a rancor-tooth in the pommel, which is really, really cool looking. And Nevin did some interesting stuff with the pommel to help with balance and things like that. So I would like to go over the chassis, and then obviously we'll go over the outside of the hilt a little bit, and we will do a demo. Right? So let's get right into it and come into Fusion and talk about this chassis. Okay, so here is the chassis that I designed for this hilt. This is a fully removable chassis system for this hilt. I've got greeblies along each side of the chassis. At the bottom here, we've got a 28mm speaker from Smugglers Outpost. I do have a very small wire channel here. I was able to hide that a little bit underneath these greeblies here. Basically what I do is I add my greeblies and then I cut a hole through all of them in Fusion. Other side's got some greeblies as well. Battery tray sits here. We do have room for a kill switch along this side. This is a tilted Proffie setup in this chassis. So we've got our Proffie board. It sits in this channel. There's plenty of room for the SD card to be pulled out or access with the USB port. Up top, I've got a 6-rail PCB. This is from Smugglers Outpost as well. Nice and straightforward chassis system. This is the this is the first time I've put ridges like this on a chassis. This is something reminiscent. It almost looks like Qui-Gon's hilt. Almost. I wanted something that looked a little bit more organic. Because of the rancor-tooth in the hilt, it's a little bit more organic. So I don't know. I was trying to achieve that with those ridges. That's the first time I've done that on a chassis. So pretty happy with the result, right? So let's come up top and talk about this hilt. Here it is, the Lord Scourge from Space Junk Sabers. I mean, this is a weapon. This is a weapon. I actually really happen to think that these claws are super, super unique looking. I don't typically personally, I don't dig claws on emitters, but this looks really, really industrial. I don't know. I really like the look of this guy. And of course, we've got our, Nevin is calling this a rancor-tooth at the bottom. So one of the cool things that Nevin did with this pommel is he filled it with lead. So it's super, super heavy, and that gives us some counterbalance when there is a blade in the hilt. Really, really nice looking hilt. We've got a D-ring down here. We have 2 Momentary switches. These are 2 brass switches from Phil Ginnis at Kalyminian Customs. Steel baffling up top. That's been heat stained. And that's it, right? The pommel also has some venting in it, right? For sound venting. And the grip also on threads. And that is where I've got my male end of the 6-rail PCB. This is what allows us to have a removable chassis system, right? So let's talk about the chassis. Here is the chassis. I did my usual pass of pewter rub and buff on this guy, and then I went back with some Tamiya weathering pigments to add some rust along the sides of this guy. Battery tray is here, and here's our Proffie board, right? So to use the chassis, spring side is your negative. So you want to take the flat part of your battery, negative side down. So that was already on. If you don't hear an audible cue, just hit that kill switch.
My ally is the Force.
And then you just want to slide your chassis into the hilt and screw on your pommel until it stops. And you're ready to go. come down to the bottom. So if you're looking at the hilt, the switches to your left is aux, to your right is the main switch. Twist to act.
You are hard to find.
Twist to activate, twist to deactivate are all on as well. Let's put a blade in it. All right, so here we go. Full length 7/8 inch blade. There is a knurled thumb screw here that serves as your blade retention. Just crank that thumb screw down when you put your blade down in. Just rest your blade on those PCB pins and you're ready to go. See what else we got.
Don't talk back to your elders, child.
Let's go ahead and go through the whole config, shall we?
Tenacity, third system. Lord Vader. General Command. Ancient.
I am no.
Blind. Inquisitory. Third system. Legion. Wherever you are hard to find. Don't talk back to your elders, child.
So this has also been set up with color wheel on all of the blade configs. To access color wheel, you want to hold down main and tap aux. Sorry. You want to hold down aux and tap main. When you find a color you like, you tap main again. Lock that color in. Let's try another one. It's a really good sounding hilt, which surprised me because of the pommel, right? I mean, obviously we don't have venting in a tooth, right? But there are some very well-placed sound venting holes on the perimeter of the pommel, right? Great sounding hilt. Really, really gnarly looking hilt too. So that is the Lord Scourge from Space Junk Sabers. Super, super unique hilt. I really do like these claws, and obviously, this rancor-tooth is really, really cool looking, and having the lead in the pommel does help with some of the counterbalance, especially when there's a blade in the hilt. So really, really nice hilt. So to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. To the viewers, if anyone has any questions about this particular install or anything really, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.